What's going on, guys? Nathan here, bringing you some more Team Fortress 2 gameplay, and this is Man vs. Machine. And yes, I do realize I keep saying that I'm not gonna post videos of this anymore, but it is quite addicting, and I do have one more loadout I still want to try as of yet. And yeah, but I'm not sure how many more videos I'll post on it. But anyway, I'm here to talk to you today about the best sniper loadout and how you can be most helpful to your team as a sniper, because, you know, a lot of people complain in MVM servers about snipers not being helpful, and they always tell you to class switch. However, with this setup, you are even more help to your team than, let's say, like, maybe a soldier or something. And, you know, I'll get into that why, like, if it's not that believable. But anyway, so I'll start it right now. So the loadout you should be using for sniper if you want to be the most help to your team as a sniper in this game mode is to use the Sydney Sleeper, the Girardi, and then the Bushwhacker. Now here's why. The Sydney Sleeper is probably the most overpowered sniper rifle for sniper in this game mode, specifically because you can mini crit people whenever you want from a distance, and the effect lasts quite a while, pretty much as long as a Girardi would. And even though you can't whip out those like 1,000 damages with a fully upgraded Machina, the fact that you can mini crit people allows your teammates to, well, for one, target them so that you all can focus on one enemy at a time so that he gets killed. And then second of all, multiple teammates firing mini crits on an enemy will end up doing more damage than a fully upgraded Machina that does like 1,000 damage per headshot. So one other thing with the sniper rifle is that you don't have to headshot enemies. Now, here's what I mean by this, is that with the Machina or the Bizarre Bargain, to make full use of the damage, you have to headshot enemies, which isn't really hard for most people, being the bots are pretty slow and they move very predictably. However, with the Sydney Sleeper, that pressure is just non-existent, and with the Sydney Sleeper, you're not really going for damage, you're going for marking enemies. So pretty much as soon as you see the Girardi icon in your scope, you want to be shooting the enemy, because you're not going for damage, you just want to mark as many enemies as possible so that your teammates can take them out, because you're in an assistance role rather than a damage dealing role, I suppose you could say. So that's why you should be using the Sleeper in the sniper loadout, and I cannot stress to you guys how much the sniper is really good for this game mode. I mean, in this gameplay, you can even see that as soon as I mark an enemy, pretty much they just drop like flies, unless it's like a giant heavy, which obviously, you know, that takes some, damage to drop him. But you know, I mean, you also kind of need like a good team, because you know, marking enemies doesn't do anything if your teammates can't get that damage on them, and that's where it's good to have like a heavy or something, where like even though their bullets may not do much damage at a distance, even though like a demo might be able to shoot pipes at the enemy from a distance, but it might not exactly hit them. But I would say that heavies are good in combination with the sniper rifle, because you're getting guaranteed bullets on them, and those mini crits pretty much do the same amount of damage than like a pipe would without, you know, mini crits. So anyway, going off on a bit of a tangent there, the secondary weapon you should be using for sniper is the Girardi, and this is fairly obvious because I've explained the reasons. You know, with the Sleeper is that the Girardi can mark, you know, enemies for mini crits, which means that they die faster, assuming you have teammates firing on them. And you can also do the power-up of the Girardi, where if you hit somebody with it, it slows them 35%, and I would definitely suggest you do this if you have some extra money lying around. And, you know, speaking of money, one thing that I wanted to tell you guys too, in terms of canteens with Sniper, a good thing to do would be to buy a crit canteen, maybe when there is a tank around, and then use it with your melee on the tank. And, you know, I'll get into perks and stuff later about why you should be using your melee instead of your sniper rifle. But in terms of canteens, I would definitely invest in the teleport to spawn canteen, because it's very cheap and it has the exact same effects as like an Uber, except that you're just teleported back to spawn. But you do teleport back to spawn with a boost, if you didn't know, so it's just like if you were whipped with the disciplinary action, so you can then rush up to the front lines and you're basically saved. So that's really why you should be using the Girardi for the secondary. You know, once again, it just makes more sense to have more mini crits for the whole set. Now, for your melee, you should be using the Bushwhacker, and once again, this should be fairly obvious because with the sleeper dealing Girardi and then the actual Girardi itself, Girardiing enemies, it would make sense to have a weapon that crits on Girardied enemies. Now, plus an advantage with the Bushwhacker is that even though you take more damage versus Pyros, like from a distance, especially with the Man vs. Machine Pyro bots who are pretty stupid, that disadvantage is pretty much non-existent because you're not ever facing, you know, Pyros where you're actually going to get burned, because you can just hide in some high up place and no one will ever bother you. So that's definitely why you should use the Bushwhacker. So as Sniper in this game mode, there are some perks you should be choosing, and there definitely is an order in which you should be choosing. So with your initial $400, you should definitely invest in the plus 25% faster charge rate, and just buy 2 of those right away, and then you're going to want to buy a third one or a fourth one with the money after the first round. Now here's why: because with your charge rate, that affects your rate of dealing Girardi, because if you guys do not know, the sleeper only deals Girardi if the charge rate is half or higher on the sniper rifle, and that also affects your ability to do damage. And even though there is a damage boosting perk, the charge rate, I would think, affects it more, just because, you know, charging faster, like charging it instantly does a lot more damage than just, you know, zooming in and then having like plus 25% more damage. But then after that, you're going to want to invest in the 25% faster reload speed, I believe it is, and this will allow you to basically fire and then zoom in super fast. And I cannot tell you how useful that is, because really the combination of these perks means that you can fire powerful shots and you can fire them fast, and that is exactly what you need to do as Sniper, especially dealing the Girardi. Once again, the charge rate is just really important, but you're going to want to definitely get those 2 perks fully upgraded before you touch anything else. Now once you have those fully upgraded, you're probably going to be on round 3 or 4 is typically what the situation is. So after that, I would suggest that you buy maybe the what is it called, the minus 35% slower movement speed on the Girardi. I'd probably do that so that your Girardi can become more useful, because otherwise it basically does the same effect as a Cine Sleeper, but now it has its unique use. And then after that, I would definitely invest in the projectile penetration so that you can Girardi multiple enemies, especially super demos. Super demos, typically on like a map like Cold Town, super demos stick together a ton. And also one other note about Cold Town is that the sniper is most effective on Cold Town because it has that long alley right away, and you know, obviously alleys are very good for snipers. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, guys, is that before you invest in the projectile penetration perks or, you know, other perks like that, like the Girardi perk, you might want to put 1 or 2 into the melee swing speed perk, and that's because you should definitely be using your melee on tank rounds, and I believe that those are on like wave 3 and wave 5 and wave 6 or something like that, and and you should definitely be using your melee against the tank, because as fast as your sniper charges up, or you can reload the shot, it just takes way too long to do like 200 damage against the tank when the Bushwhacker can do that in 1 crit, and usually a crit with the Bushwhacker happens once every 4 swings or so, so you should definitely be using your melee. And sometimes you can get like maybe 2 out of 4 swings with the Bushwhacker is a crit, but it's usually not less than 1 in every 4, and that means that you can deal, I think it's usually about 70 damage per hit with the Bushwhacker, so the faster you can swing that and the more crits you get, the more damage you're doing to the tank, and overall it is more damage than you would deal with the sleeper being, I mean, you can't really Girardi the tank, so definitely use your melee in that situation. So that will wrap up this video, guys. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it, and if you could leave a rating for this video, I would also appreciate that. And if you are new around here and have not seen my channel before, I do bring lots of TF2 to my channel, so if you like that, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, so that was pretty much the best sniper loadout, especially at Cold Town, because Cold Town is probably my favorite map just because you can play sniper, and it's good practice too for aiming, so definitely play some MVM if you want to get better at sniper in real TF2. And once again, you know, thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Good job.
You best keep lying down.